A very good evening. This is Abigail bringing to you the news and events in Meghalaya from Bosco Media Network. Here are the headlines for today. KSU staged protests across the state against Ishamati case. Home Guard volunteers yet to receive wages. West Jaintia Hills DEF observes Commemoration Day and BSF observe Police Commemoration Day. And now the news in detail. The Khasi Student Union has on 21st of October took to the streets across the state to voice out their protest against a certain section of society who are meddling and igniting diversion with the Ishamati case. The protest took place across Meghalaya, including Shillong, to which posters were hung across the city with the slogan as quoted, "Who murdered Lushai Nyota," among others. In Bidhoi district, as per information given by the association, the initiative of the protest at the toll gate is to be against the entry of a Bengali association in the Meghalaya. The president of the Khasi Student Union, J. Khasi, expressed his thoughts to the media by stating that the union urgently stands against the intentions of the said Bengali community, accusation that the incident in Ishamati was incited by the locals themselves. Furthermore, as quoted by the president of the union, we will not allow outsiders to meddle with the situations that occurred in Meghalaya, as it would incite issues and hinder peace within the state. The expression of Kharkamni is also being supported by the union's unit in Sora, as well as the matter would not be resolved, instead create further dispute and erupts clashes for the most part, adding that outsiders shouldn't be allowed entry until and unless valid and proper permission is given by the concerned authorities.
Ilai kat kum ki banar ba ki plakat bagi tho ni pen pausai ba kini ki Bengali ki Malaysia ki try Bengali na po mainland India hari ki illegal Bangladeshi ki bon kiu natin na po Bangladesh but ka motif ka joki kalong ba pen separate ya ka jet menriu ka badon hapo ka jela ka jongi but ni susi ban ui ba ki donru ki wei ki ba kentho ya ka jet menriu Khasi ka jongi hangne po ka jela but ni penram joru ya ka jingyat rally ka juki hangte hapo West Bengal banyat hadu hapo Meghalaya House ni penram jor ba ka jisha hi galong ba kamton kum kata ki boro na kaliang jongi kum kaseng ka basya khno ru hang tu ka sthi ba ka dei ka jisha ka jing thombor na kaliang jongi Khasi Student Union hanre kum ban pensyai pentip spi boro ba ngiladu yod khot jong KSU khot jong ka jai menriu ulushai Usamla Lushai uba hakte ka jingjia baja po Ichamati ula sha bom sha tiet hadu badaklat ha po kakti jong kini ki Bengali kadau ngiyang hamne ban perbawi di persya ban syairu sha borok ki pajba ba ka jela ka jongi ka syong hangi bangin penyat kumno ka bandong kadi bandong kane ka affairs ka state ka jongi umdan mono uba nabar jong jela wan balan patai start ya ka jipnyat jong ka jela ka jongi ba haju upor nga persngau sya ka sarkar Meghalaya jongi yo ya ki we ki state la da don kanu do jing sya kan tho kamtam hapo ka state Nagaland la don sujia dangshen kini kilai banai so banai hadu supo Bangalore kidang le kiam ito breu ubakan tho ya ka jai breu naga kano yangi apa pelong hadu mental ar banai lai banai nakaliang sarkar kapodon penuh reaction balik kiam yakini ki breu kapodon kame kalong ba apa ka sarkar klai ya shibun kini ki breu ki banabar kamtam ki badai ki Bengali ki belak itu ki katum gajat ka jongki kila don lupa kata ka misinformation ya ki breu ki badai shabar jong mainland India kila mandai ki Bihari kila mandai ki Marathi kila mandai mono hare ka jing perstu bakala juki kalong bean syama polat klaim da don kita ki sakhi ki satar ki babiang ban persgo syakiwei ba kadai ka jingjak basyak ta bat nei nakaliang seng jungi nadu nak po KSU na po not Khasi district unit bat kumjuru KSU sangkibi ni penpau bat ni persyak jur ya kini ki jai breu ki bakentho ya ka jai breu go jungi klaim dak kino ki sakhi ki sabut ki bat pensyai syaki breu ki po mainland India.
In a major leap towards justice, the Home Guard volunteers under the supervision of the Khasi Student Union KSU staged a protest to assert and demand their wages from the Department of Home Guards and Civil Defence JOI, as well as from the District Commissioner's Office, West Jaintia Hills. It may be mentioned that the Home Guard volunteers were placed under employment in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak in the state. Their wages were to be paid day-to-day duties. However, on interaction with some of the volunteers, it was revealed that since the initial stages, they have only been paid for approximately a 40 days' work at the rate of Rs 550, while the remaining 171 days of payment is still pending till date. The volunteers, along with the KSU, expressed discontent and the burden which has been incepted from the concerned department's adamant nature of diverting attention. It was also informed that containment zones across the district, for the most part Home Guard volunteers, were posted to supervise, yet the aforementioned wage is steer clear of vision. Some of the employees avert that a situation of not getting paid has led them to lay off from their rent houses as they couldn't pay the rent, which is why they're voicing out for their rights. On the other hand, the Deputy Commissioner of West Jaintia Hills, Garrett L. N. Dykes, detailed that the pending sanction of salaries is due to the difference in between the state government's and district daily wage pattern. According to the DC, the release 40 days fund of Rs 550 was sanctioned through the District Commissioner's office, but upon the arrangement that the state government will provide the necessary financial services, the concerned stepped back. However, the amount that the state government proposed was Rs 439, which is lesser than the initial payment given by the District Commissioner's office. Thus, the hold-up and pending releases. A discussion will be taking place with the state government to resolve the situation, said the DC. The West Jaintia Hills District Executive Force observed today the Police Commemoration Day at Jawai Police Reserve Administration Building, Jawai. Addressing the ceremony, Shri Bikram Marak, Superintendent of Police, Jawai, said the day is observed every year to pay tribute to the martyrs who had lost their life while discharging their duty. Tribute was paid to all the police personnel of different ranks who sacrificed their lives while performing their duty across the country. Wreaths were laid and 2 minutes silence was also observed to pay homage for the departed soul. The country has realized that it is cheaper to build and operate solar farms than to run existing coal-fired power plants, said the Director of NER Power Committee, Ministry of Power, Government of India, briefly Linkhoi IES. Speaking to the media on alternative sources of energy, which are friendly to the environment, Linkhoi said renewable energy also has significant environment benefits, making it the single biggest driver to help us meet our carbon emission reduction targets in the fight against climate change. With India being a growing economy, power consumption is only going to rise, so adoption of alternate forms of energy is the ideal way forward to manage balance between economic growth and sustainable environment, Linkhoi said. When asked how the government has been able to bridge the power deficit in the northeastern region, Linkhoi said Northeastern Electric Power Corporation (NEPCO) has commissioned a 5-megawatt solar power plant at Monarchak in Tripura, which will be the biggest and the first of its kind in northeast India. As many of 23,616 solar modules are being erected to tap the sunlight in the plant, which will be able to generate power around the year. The above 5-megawatt solar plant was commissioned on February 2015, was feeding through Tripura grid at a cost of ₹7 per unit approximately, he said. In 2010, the total installed solar capacity was 10 megawatt, and in 2016, the installed capacity stood at 6,000 megawatt, a steep climb of 600 times in just 6 years. As of March 2019, the total installed solar capacity stands at 30 gigawatt, accounting for an increase of 5 times in 3 years. Today, solar has reached 30% of the 2022 target of 100 gigawatt, contributing 38% to the renewable energy mix, Linkhoi said. When the National Solar Mission was launched in 2010, the cost of solar power was Indian rupees 17 per unit in comparison to a latest bid of Indian rupees 2.44 per unit, Linkhoi said.
It's very important for us that we should see that we should have all the equipments, or maybe like the energy efficiency, like what we call, is very important for all of us. That we should see that even the lights, we used to have in the olden days tube lights or the filament bulbs, which consume a lot of power. But nowadays we have these LEDs or maybe energy efficient lights, which consume very minimum, say 5 watts, 10 watts. They're very small, but the capacity, the intensity of these lights are far better than the filament bulbs of 100 watts. So if we can do that, if we use this energy efficiency with us, I can really assure that even Meghalaya also will drastically reduce the power consumption. See, like the case of Tripura, it's just because Government of India has taken initiative by giving this free LEDs. They have installed in the street lights as well as the homes, almost 40 to 50 megawatts of power. That is huge. So likewise, in the case of Meghalaya also, if the government look into it, and we should see that we should follow strictly that all the equipments, maybe like TV, refrigerators, whatever, we should have all those energy efficiency equipments, so that by doing that, we will have enough power without additional capacity. Second thing, the transmission losses also is very important, that we have to look into it. So we have to address, of course, when you look at the distribution in the earlier, even 5 years ago, 30, 40, 50% the distribution losses, AT&C losses. But now it has come down drastically. So I hope that in some of the areas where the pilferage of power, power theft, we can use AB cables, where people will not be able to steal or pilferage the power from the grid. So that is very important. And finally, I hope that at least we should encourage all the, especially the office, let's start from the office buildings and office properties, so that we will install this solar lights, so that with this we will be able at least to utilize for the office, for lightings, and as maybe even for heating purposes, and only when we need to draw from the grid, that only we have to use it. So I hope that the government of Meghalaya should look into it to help or to encourage the utilities to install the solar panels in respective buildings or respective houses, so that we can add the benefit of improvement of power sector in the state of Meghalaya.
Meghalaya Congress legislator H.M. Shangpliang today urged the state government to contain the price hike of vegetables and other essential commodities during the festive seasons. Reacting to the statement of Meghalaya Deputy Chief Minister Prestone Tinsong, who said recently that the prices of goods are determined by the market, Shangpliang said the skyrocketing of essential commodities, particularly the vegetables during festive seasons, has caused distress among the citizens. While Tinsong was saying the prices of essential commodities are not regulated by the government, Shangpliang on the other hand said that the government, which looks after the welfare of its citizens, should not shirk responsibility and always step in so that unethical profiting is contained. To remember the brave policemen who sacrificed their lives while discharging their duties and to pay rich tributes to the martyrs, the Border Security Force Meghalaya Frontier observed 61 Police Commemoration Day at Frontier Headquarters Umpling, Sector Headquarters Maupat and Dobasipara, as well as other locations of BSF battalions in Meghalaya, which also include War Memorial Kilapara, South Garo Hills District of Meghalaya. At headquarters BSF Meghalaya, the day was observed at War Memorial in the Umpling campus by organizing a parade. Shri Hardeep Singh, Inspector General Meghalaya Frontier, laid the wreath at the War Memorial and paid homage to 264 police personnel who have laid down their lives in the line of duty during 2019 to 2020 in presence of more than 150 officers and men at War Memorial of BSF Frontier headquarters. During the parade, 2-minute silence was observed to pay homage to all the martyrs. This day commemorates the sacrifice made by 10 CRPF personnel while defending the border with China in 1959. The Border Security Force is not only serving at border in extreme hard conditions, but also putting every efforts to preserve and strengthen the unity, integrity and security of our nation. Let us now have a glimpse of COVID-19 update for today. So viewers, that is all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us.